Right, so we are recording. So if you tell me where you're at. So you had the scan, didn't you? You've had your scans. Did you get it scanned?
Yep. So I had my secondary scan, which was the MRI, about must have been best part of 2 months ago now.
That's 2 months ago.
And that second scan diagnosed a small tear in the lower right Achilles. And I don't know how you describe it, kind of on the inside of the Achilles, on the lower left side of the right leg, if that makes sense.
Left side, so the medial aspect. Yeah,
that's it, the medial aspect. And
that was a tear.
That was a tear, yeah. They showed me on the scan that there was clearly a small tear there. At which point I was given two options. I was given the option of surgery, which the surgeon described it as they would cut away half the Achilles, and they would also repair some of the damage in there around the bone, etc.
So was there bone damage? Sorry to interrupt.
He identified that there were some like floating elements of bone in the area around there, where it's just obviously been damaged over the years playing football and stuff.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Has any of that been antagonistic, or has it all gone pretty well?
No, it's always been antagonistic. I mean, funnily enough, the shockwave only hurt when he did it, but as soon as we went into physio, it's always been antagonistic, and I've always felt like a little bit of burn afterwards, or for a day or so, it feels a little bit kind of tightened up again.
Yeah, and that settles.
It does settle, and I mean, what I have been doing, just so you know, is every day, pretty much since the crisis happened, I've been doing an hour on my static bike. Now, clearly, I'm not doing the toe separation, but that's given me enough of a movement to start to loosen it up.
This is quite a hard question to answer. I think we probably spoke about before. Your saddle height, do you cycle? So is your ankle, are you ankling, or is your toe constantly down? Do you know what I mean? Does your ankle move?
I do move my ankle, yes.
Fine. That's probably good, because that's a similar kind of motion to what you're describing anyway. So that sounds pretty good. I was going to say, if your saddle was so high that it was locked in, we could have played around with that, brought it down slightly to get some ankling done. But I think that's fine anyway. Tell me again about the shockwave therapy.
So the shockwave therapy, I had 4 treatments of that, 4 consecutive Fridays. And all of those were around 5 to 10 minutes in length, and each of them effectively were just a shockwave at high intensity on the injury, and all there were no side effects. The view from both the physio and actually the surgeon, in fairness, was that this was quite experimental, because they'd never actually seen hair heal a tear. What they'd seen it used for is tendonitis.
Yeah, makes sense.
And as part of that, the physio and the surgeon had agreed that they would do some physiotherapy to see if that would also help accelerate the repair process that the shockwave should instigate. So I started that on the 2nd from last week of the shockwave. So I do my shockwave, and then I do half an hour physio with him. Then I did the same. Then I've had 2 sessions without the shockwave. And then as a result of the crisis, I've had no physio now for this would be the 2nd week without it. So I still had it the 1st week of lockdown. Yep.
Cool.
Can I ask you a question before we go on? I mean, like all of us, I became a Google expert for a couple of days before I thought, you know what, I'll just give Danny a call. In your experience or opinion, is it very possible and probable to cure an Achilles tear just by doing physiotherapy?
So tears, I would suggest would naturally, there would be a healing element anyway. What the shockwave does, did they explain what shockwave does?
Well, my interpretation of what he told me, so correct me if I'm wrong, is it effectively irritates and forces self-healing.
Yeah, so it's low energy sound waves that are designed to increase blood flow to the area, which is how the body heals. So it's just a non-invasive way. How does it feel, actually? I've never had it done. How is it painful?
Yeah, it was really painful, particularly because I'm looking at your screen right now, and if I look at that red band, where I feel my tear is if I look at that right leg, it's just above the heel and to the left side. So where he was hitting it, Yeah, exactly, kind of there, Dan.
Yeah.
And maybe at the upper end of that kind of red rectangle,
Yeah.
it was really sore. I mean, when you put it on high velocity, it almost felt like kind of somebody jabbing an open wound.
We're in insertional tendinopathy category, so we've done this. Are you still icing or anything? Are you doing anything like that?
No.
Fine.
No, but that's kind of why I wanted to reach out to you, just to get a kind of sense of things I should continue to try and do.
Yeah, like the police protocol is kind of what we used to call the RICE protocol, so rest, ice, compress, elevate. So now it's protect and optimal load rather than rest, which is what you're doing anyway, because rest would have been people were too literal with rest and were doing absolutely nothing, whereas now we're just protecting it. So instead of running on it, we're cycling, for example.
Yeah.
Optimal loading is exactly what you're doing through your physiotherapy. So starting to put some force through it, because it needs force to heal. I think there's probably still an element. Ice may be beneficial, even if it's just from pain management perspective. How painful? Fine. Okay. So this is kind of our normal tendon rehab protocol. So early stage is probably, you're probably just above the isometric static loading stage, I would say. So we kind of, you've been doing concentric, eccentric, so shortening and lengthening of the calf. What I wanted to show you, we'll go over these in a second. So this will be interesting in your own time. This will be worth trying on the good leg, on the asymptomatic side. These are single leg calf raises. Okay, so am I right in assuming you're in this category, aren't you?
You are correct with that.
I was going to go lower, but so we would expect on your left hand side, your good side, 28 unbroken calf raises would be your expected level of strength. So it's like a hamstring bridge, but then going up on your tiptoes and holding.
Okay.
Brutal, but you're strong, so you'll be all right. Okay.
Not in the core, I'm not, but yeah, okay.
Have you not been doing your Joe Wicks?
Don't get me started. I have to shut the door. I listen to everybody else bang around doing Joe Wicks.
It's see where you are. You might find that you want to add a little bit and put a dumbbell in your hand or something.
Okay. I've got two different sets. I've got like a 5K and a 12K dumbbell, so I can try with a 5 at least, because there's not a lot in that.
Anything's antagonistic, let me know.
Yeah.
If it feels too easy, let me know. There's over on this site, there's over 4,500 exercises, so we've got loads to play around with. I would rather come in sensibly rather than setting you back 2 or 3 weeks.
And in terms of the exercises you're giving, kind of what's the volume, what's the frequency, kind of what would your advice be on that? So
what I'll do on this, so I'll show you what happens. So on this website, let me go back. So there's your 5 exercises that we're going to give you.
Okay.
And so if I click on that one, soleus heel raise, it comes down here, and then I'm going to input your sets and your reps and your holds, and I've got lots of different parameters that I can set for you.
Got you.
So for each one, I'll go through and I'll decide how long I want you in each position, how many times throughout the day. So for example, we spoke about this isometric soleus raise, which is the seated one. For that, for example, for sets, I might just say throughout the day, do 45-second static holds 3 to 5 times throughout the day.
Right.
But it will all be kind of individualized towards you, to you, sorry. Then what will happen when I go to publish, the email will come from Rehab Guru, not me. So don't worry, you'll get an email from Rehab Guru. It's all completely GDPR compliant, so it's complete lockdown. It's only you can access it, and it will have your 5 exercises. It will have your instructions, and it will have the video links.
Okay.
Does anything not make sense?
No, it's all fine. I'm just scribbling some notes to know what to look out for in case anything goes into the trash or the folder, and also just to make sure I make a note of letting you know if anything plays up. Yeah, do. Like I say, it'll be a little bit of trial and error because of because of where you're up to already with your physiotherapy. If this was a first session,
or if you'd have had no treatment so far, it would have been a little bit. I could be a little bit more black and white with it, but I think because you've had those sessions, I just don't know what the capability of that tendon is already.